Hey, okay, this is a little intro before my video, because in my video I don't mention something that I mention all the time whenever I talk about abortion, because I feel like I've talked about that a lot whenever, well anyway, the simple fact that it's dehumanizing to force somebody against their will to be pregnant. It's dehumanizing and degrading and demeaning. It's basically, you know, if you give the government that kind of power over a human being, you're making that human being property of the government. They become property. It's like saying you're a free, independent human being and until you get pregnant. And once you're pregnant, you're the state's property until you conceive, well, until you have this baby. You're property. You have no say over your own body. And my feeling too is if you seem to think that a woman can't decide for herself whether a pregnancy is right for her, she shouldn't be able to vote. She shouldn't be able to make any decisions at all. You're basically saying she can't handle even the simplest, you know, thing that's a private, simple thing. It's like, can I have this or do I not want it? You know, just stuff that she has to think herself. You're saying she can't come up with the right answer because there's only one right answer. And it's your answer, of course. And my last little point is the very same people that whine about giving women the right to choose what happens to them in their future are the same people that whine about Obamacare and call Obama a socialist. You know, oh, you know, he's basically forcing us all to have insurance even if we don't even if we don't want to. I would think that anybody who thinks that a woman doesn't have a right to make a decision over her own body, who basically gets that taken away from her and has this forced on her, a pregnancy forced on her, is equally as much or more so a socialist. So anyway, this is just my intro, so now here's the video I actually did earlier. Thanks. Okay, I was trying to get my computer to go to YouTube channel, and I saw just the title or half title of a video called something to do with an abortion debate. I just think it's really sad that we have to have abortion debates. You know, I think that, yes, granted, it's not a good thing to abort a fetus in third trimester. Most women don't. Most women are required to be pregnant for 6 weeks before they have an abortion. And I'm sorry, the little pictures of a little miniature human in somebody's hand and it says under it, this is what a fetus looks like at 6 weeks, is bullshit. All you have to do is go to an online medical journal or whatever and, you know, Google or search for fetus development and you will see what a fetus looks like at 6 weeks. Not remotely like a human being, but anyway, that's not the point. Third trimester, you know, it looks like a human, or it's pretty close to looking like a baby in the third trimester. My opinion is it's wrong to abort a baby in the third trimester, and it's not something that is commonly done. But if they know for a fact this child is not going to survive outside of the mother, if it's, you know, going to just suffer and die, you know, or not even that, maybe it's not even going to be born alive, I just think that it's just better to have it aborted. You know, if it's causing harm to the mom, or if it's not something that's going to survive, I think it should be aborted. I think it's a very rare case. And when people debate abortion, I'm always hoping that that's what they're talking about, not just all abortion, but just like third trimester abortion. The other thing is babies who are, able to survive outside the mother that are aborted while they're still in the womb is to me a despicable, vile act that should not ever be done. That said, most abortions occur in the first trimester, like after they make you go like 6 weeks, like I said. And if you, anyway, if you Google spontaneous abortion, that's another phrase for miscarriage. Spontaneous abortion equals miscarriage. There are far and away more spontaneous abortions than abortions. And what the spontaneous abortion is the body naturally aborts the fetus. Christians want to say that God is the explanation for everything, not nature. So, if that's true, then we have to scratch out the word nature or naturally aborted fetus and say God aborted fetus, which makes God the greatest committer of abortion ever. It's like a contradiction that Christians just don't see. They like to say that God has a divine plan and the divine plan is perfect, but they pray all the time for God to change his divine plan, which would upset all the pieces to the puzzle that has been built around the divine plan. They say, well, God doesn't have control over the earth because Satan is in charge. The prince of darkness, is in charge of the earth. And God is limited in how much he can do because that's Satan's jurisdiction. But then they say God is all-powerful. And they pray to him like they think he can affect their lives after they just said that he can't really do much because Satan is in charge of the world. So that, to me, is a huge contradiction. But then it's like, they say everything's according to God's divine plan, and I would assume that everything that happens under Satan's dominion is also part of God's divine plan, because God is aware of everything. He's all-knowing. He knows the future, so he knows everything that his little minion Satan is going to do. In fact, he created Satan deliberately to do everything that Satan does. So technically, everything that Satan does in Satan's little dominion is still under the umbrella of God and part of God's divine plan. So people who say, well, God, the reason there are abortions is because of Satan. Well, no. The reason there are abortions that are not spontaneous abortions is because that is part of God's plan. Every child that does not survive, whether it's in the womb or outside of the womb, is part of God's divine plan. That child was not intended to live. If it was intended to live, it would have lived. If it was not, it wasn't. It's part of God's plan. But nothing is part of God's plan unless it's what Christians want. If it's what Christians want, then it's a good thing and it's part of God's plan. But if it's not, then it's all about Satan. But again, everything Satan does is something that's puppeteered by God, because God is the big honcho. He's basically Satan's employer. Every single thing, it's like he handed Satan a job description and he knew everything that Satan would do, and he built his plan up around that. So everything Satan does is part of the plan. So that's what I have a problem with. This is a short video, but I have a problem with the fact that Christians contradict each other. They stand in front of abortion clinics and they harass people who are just going in for a medical procedure, because they are trying to plan their family and it's not in their plan to have a child. Or it's just not something that they want. They don't want to have children. Or whatever. Maybe the maybe the fetus is not something that's going to survive it. It's their business. You know, these people that stand outside of abortion clinics and act like terrorists to other people, it's none of their business what those other people are doing with their personal life. It's none of their business what happens to somebody else's body. You know, unless somebody's standing on a bridge about to commit suicide, you know, that might be an exception, or is holding a gun to their head. Maybe then you might want to step in and try to, you know, keep them from doing that, because that's probably not a good thing. But what somebody does with their personal life that has to do with their, you know, their entire future, or their health, or whatever, stuff that isn't your business at all to begin with, it just annoys me when people stand out of abortion clinics or harass staff that are there trying to provide medical care to women. So that's basically all I wanted to say. I just think that everything, if Christianity is to be believed, everything happens part of God's divine plan, and Christians are defying God when they go against him, when they say, oh no, we're not going to let that be aborted. You don't know. Maybe that's part of his plan. So that's all. Just putting that out there. I just think that terrorism is wrong in all its forms. So if you've been watching, thanks. Bye.